Have you heard about the concept of burdening and raw cost? I mean, during the previous sessions or maybe in your project?
No, Venkat.
Okay, so here we go. Usually, whatever the raw cost, whatever the cost we are incurring straight away, that will be our raw cost. I mean, the time card labor, time OTL time cards, AP invoices, and all. There is a concept of burdening where you are going to incur some extra cost, which is nothing but overhead during your process of the raw cost. I mean to say for example, your salaries. Salaries will be your raw cost, right?
Yeah.
Straightforward cost. Apart from that, company used to bear some cost on you in the form of workstation rent, in the form of cab services, in the form of pantry services, in the form of internet, everything they are providing you. End of the day, customer has to pay all those costs from his pocket along with your salaries, right?
Yeah.
So this particular cost, whatever is mentioned, that is nothing but the overhead cost. We are going to call them as a burden cost. So your salaries will be your raw cost, and the other expenditure, whatever we mentioned, that is nothing but the burden cost. So total your raw cost is 100 rupees, and I'm going to incur 20 per head. So 100 plus 20, total 120, the total burden cost which I'm going to incur from my pocket. The first one is raw cost. I mean, straightforward. The rate into quantity, it will get hit, and the raw cost into your burden multiplier, it will convert into your burden cost. And first line 100, second line 20, total the last line 100 plus 20, total 120. The company has to pay from the pocket. Now, this particular concept we are going to track using the burden. Now come to the different kind of terminologies: burden cost codes, burden cost, burden multiplier, schedule, structure, burden cost, blah, 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 blah. These are the different terminologies which we are going to see now. It's a optional, what is that? Most of the manufacturing companies will go for burdening, not all the companies. Why? Because the manufacturing company, during the process management, they used to incur some overheads, usually in general. Sometimes you will be pulling the cost from the BOM, sometimes WIP, sometimes inventory. So there are different places where you are going to incur some overhead cost. So most of the cases, the burdening will be applicable for the manufacturing. And it's not necessarily only for the manufacturing. Even the service-oriented companies also can go with the burdening if they want to implement. Now, this is how it looks like. Storing the burden amounts. Do you want to store as a single line or as a separate line? If you see, the original line of the raw cost is 140, the burdening is 20, the total burdened cost is 160. If you want to split into two separate lines, clerical will go as a clerical, original 140, and the burden cost, whatever you are paying extra as a fringe, you want to track as a separate line, you can go with this, you can go like this. JK, did you get the difference?
Yeah. But
And this is how the accounting will happen. You are going to incur the expenditures in the Oracle project costing module. In the SLA, we have to generate the cost accounting events, and the create accounting will happen. Whenever you run the create accounting program, those will push to the GL, and the burden accounting entries will just get created and interface to GL. The same concept, like how our PRC distribute labor cost, PRC usage maintenance cost we used to run. In similar fashion, it will drive.
okay.
And what are the different kinds of project types and where to implement the burdening and all? We are not the decision makers. Business has to decide. Okay, what are the areas I am incurring the extra cost? Sometimes you'll be incurring the cost of 1 crore. You'll be booking a material. Material is coming from China. Okay, from China, the material has came to Chennai airport, Chennai shipping yard. Okay, from the Chennai shipping yard, you have to get the material in the railway in the nearby goods, I mean, railway goods. From there, you have to get that material to Tiruchi or maybe some other place in Chennai. End of the day, during this process, wherever you are paying officially, there is some unofficial amount, right? Like giving bribe or maybe giving some gifts to the officers or whatever the cost you are going to incur, those will be like it's a kind of overhead for you, obviously. So material cost is one crore in the sense it does not mean only 1 crore you are going to pay. You are going to pay extra some percentage of amount to get that material to your place.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like some places. So as a business manager, as a process manager, as a subject matter expert, the client will decide what are the areas I'm going to incur the expenditures extra and what are the expenditure types also. Obviously,
Images,
right?
we
Because we
have
are going to
contacts, we have
in our
various
example
apps, we
case,
have games.
we are going to show the expenditure type as a material. That's an expenditure type where wherever the material expenditure type I incur, 5% extra I'm going to prepare it. 5% extra I need to pay. That kind of like symptoms you'll be having, and you need to decide what are the areas you are going to incur the burden.
Hello everyone
From
and
IT
welcome to
side,
this video
we
on the
are
DevOps
not the
full course
decision
by
makers.
Edureka.
Okay, that is a thumb rule.
DevOps is a
Whatever
way
they
to
used
bring
give,
together
simply we have
development
to
and
implement it.
operations teams to make software delivery faster and more reliable. By
And these are
encouraging
some kind of
teamwork and
implementation
automating
steps, blah
tasks,
blah blah. This is not
DevOps helps
required.
companies
Just go to
release updates
the
quickly
setups.
and with fewer
First thing,
errors.
cost base. We are going to
Practices like
decide. Cost
continuous
base always go with
integration
the
and
burden
continuous
cost. No
delivery.
change in it. Cost base will remain always as it is. Whenever it comes to the manufacturing project manufacturing module implementation, they can choose a separate cost base type as a manufacturing. As long as we are working with the project accounting, cost base always will be the burden cost.
Okay.
And codes. So burdening is nothing but a one more expenditure, right? Like the 20 rupees, whatever we are referring here in the first slide. The second line, the burden cost, 20, fringe. Here, fringe is your cost code actually. Even though it's an expenditure type, the 20 line, whatever you are deciding to generate, that is nothing but a cost code. For every cost code, like a total how many you want to like implement the burdening, that many cost codes you have to go with that. Like the best example is if you go to any restaurant in Chennai or maybe throughout India, you'll be having a two kind of tax sins, right? GST central tax and GST state tax, 2.5%, 2.5% something. You'll be having two lines on every bill. If you go to movies or if you go to any restaurant or particularly the food bill, if you go to any food bill, if you see that the items cost is different on the top of the state tax and the central burden tax used to calculate. So two kinds of cost codes we have to prepare if that is the case. Two burden items, right? You are going to calculate state and central tax. Similar manner, total how many you are going to incur the burdening extra things, that many cost codes you have to define. In this case, cost code will be the fringe. We have to assign expenditure type. Obviously, it's nothing but a new expenditure line, right? Whenever we say new expenditure line, obviously the project, task, expenditure type, and all those things, it will be derived against which expenditure type this particular burden should implement. So fringe benefits is the expenditure type. We have to attach this fringe to the fringe benefits. Then only the expenditure will store. Otherwise, expenditure can't store in this in the system. If you see this, the example, if you understand this table, we are good with the burdening. The bottom section, the gray color section called the expenditure types: professional, clerical, supplies, construction material, travel, meals, airfare. These are the different bases. Like a few belongs to labor, few belongs to material, few belongs to expense, which we are going to prepare a cost base. Cost base is nothing but a free text. You are going to decide was under labor, these are the expenditure types will come for burdening. Professional, clerical, sales. Under material, supplies, construction materials. Under expenses, travel, meals, airfare will come. Okay, now question is, whenever I enter any expenditure type called clerical during my expenditure entry, G&A, overhead, fringe should calculate the first box. The above top three are your overhead, the burden lines, the burden cost codes. Whenever I
Okay.
enter any G&A, meal, airfare, the last box, okay, only G&A should calculate.
Mm-hmm.
Middle one, whenever I incur any expenditure, supplies or material construction materials, handling charges as well as G&A charges, I should incur. Yes, you are going
Okay.
to structure accordingly. So from the client side, you are the decision maker, right? What are the areas you'll be incurring the burden?
So only the purpose for the reporting purpose only, they are just segregating the cost, like which is direct, which is indirect, which is something.
Absolutely, absolutely. The
There's
the the drilling down of the cost to the next level actually.
there's nothing related to accounting, like
No,
this
no,
will
it's
be
there.
happen like.
Still it's there. No, no, still we can do the accounting on it. If you want to go
Okay.
with a separate accounting, if you, I mean, still auto accounting is responsible for these transactions. You can go with your own indirect related accounting. If you want to derive a separate account combinations, you can go with it.
Okay.
The same, whenever we are doing the costs in the breakup, obviously the accounting also it will allow us. So like in your project currently, like I mean the burdening is, I mean you guys are implementing, because of course it's a
Uh,
Microsoft service company. I don't see like they'll implement the burdening.
I'm not aware of from the project accounting.
Okay.
In
All
March
right.
they are going to start, I think.
All right, no problem. Yeah, let's go with the next one. We are going to select in the two cases. One is the additive, second one is the like precedence. Now, whenever we choose the additive example, if you see the raw cost is 100, I want to go with the three kinds of overhead cost calculation. Every time 10%. I'm going to give the percentage also. Multiplier is nothing but your percentage. Okay, 10%.
Oh,
Out of 100, what is the 10% is $10. So fridge $10, overhead $10, G&A $10. Total 130, burdened $130 as a burdened cost. I'm going to pay it.
okay.
This is
What is G
additive
and
method. Governance and there is a kind of G&A expenses usually. Governance and appliances something in the, it's a kind of a common expenditure where they used to incur in the form of burdening. It's outside general terminology, not related to any Oracle applications.
Okay, okay.
This is the additive method. If you go to the precedence, if you see fringe 10%,
Yeah.
overhead 10%, G&A 10%, but the calculation will be changing. That means for the first method, I mean for the first line fringe, the input will be $100. $100 of 10% is 10. After that, whenever it calculates the overhead, this 10 plus 100, total 110 will be the input for overhead. Okay. Out of 110, 10% is $11. It's a cumulative
Okay.
basis. If you see the amounts, it's getting
Yeah, yeah, got
changed.
it. Got it. Got it.
Yeah, additive or precedence. $3 are coming difference. It's fine. Now coming to the versions. I can see the different versions also. Like quarter one, take the rates. Obviously, rates will get changed, right? For first quarter,
Mm.
maybe I have a different multipliers. Maybe the next 2020, I have a different rates. 2016, I have a different rates. Obviously, so like that, we can prepare a different rates based on the different this one the different versions.
Okay.
And yeah, coming to the next one. And organizational wise also, you can give the different rates. For headquarters level, fringe and overhead 0.9 and 0.5%. In the services east, I don't calculate anything because I don't incur any burdening. In the west, overhead 0.8%. New York 0.6%, only fringe. Okay, and the next one, fringe 0.3%. But in San Jose, there is no burdening. Like this, you can prepare your burden multiplier hierarchy accordingly.
Okay.
It's not necessarily all the organizations must have the burdening and all. Wherever applicable, you can just simply give that particular organizations and respective multipliers. And all these things, whatever the structure we discussed, hierarchy, schedule, date ranges, multipliers, we are going to compile it. That is nothing but the burden schedule, and you are going to attach to your project type level, which will default to your project and subsequently to your task also. So you are going to assign it only at the project type level. We are not going to assign anything to the project and task level. It will get defaulted to your project as well as the task. Still,
Okay.
you can override your schedules at the project and at the task levels. And this is how it calculates all blah 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 blah. Some accounting. Anyhow, accounting I'll give you that. Yeah. Let's see how it looks like in the system. They paid around 25K, okay. For that they provided the instance as well as the training. These are the combo they used to prepare, they used to give. So the instance after completion of the training, I think 1 month or 2 months, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you some details in Chennai, okay? Like if you plan to come to Hyderabad, I can give you some address. You can just go and install over there. Just a matter of 2 hours job, 500 rupees directly in your machine. It's a permanent one. Like no one will touch that.
Oh, is it?
The one which how I did. I'm trying to figure it out in Chennai. Let me try to find out with my friend. I'll give you the address if I get any update, you can just go and get it installed, so that there won't be any.
Yeah.
Costing. I'm in the setup part. Go to setup, costing, burden. Cost base always just it will remain as it is. Let me define some cost base. PA1 cost base. I'm just giving some example. Shift F5, burden cost always as always. Report.
Material cost also you can give, like.
Yeah, still. Okay, some PA1 cost base. I'm just giving some vague example. Here, coming to the cost codes, we can define our own cost codes here. PA1 cost code 1, okay. That means again is this one, this is a kind of state GST, central GST, okay. This is the example. What is the associated expenditure type for this? Okay, I'll just give the existing one. State GST or central GST, I'm just going to prepare it. Go on.
I have not attached the cost codes with that raw material rate.
No, not yet. That is still we are not even attached here. This is an extra line. Whatever the state GST is a separate line for us, right?
Okay, yeah.
We are just still at that level only.
Okay.
Okay, I just prepared state GST and central GST. So obviously this is a separate line. Against which expenditure type it should generate the 20 rupees extra.
Okay.
Okay, now the raw material connection we are going to do now. Against which, based on the table. The codes are done. Now this is the place. Come here. One. burden cost structure. This is the place it answers your question. Okay, precedents are additive. Additive is straightforward, $10, $10, $10 each. Precedents is cumulative basis.
Okay.
Yeah, just go with the additive. It's fine. Now, come to the usage in the schedule override. Do you want to override at the project level? Yes. If not, just choose the default. Cost base. PA1 cost base.
Okay.
Now, we have two things, right? C1, C2.
Yes.
C1, C2. It's fine.
So whenever
now,
we use this cost, this burden cost, the state GST and central GST will automatically apply, right?
absolutely
On that
perfect.
particular cost type.
Perfect. You are right. Okay. When the C1 should calculate. Now this is the place you have linking your raw cost here.
Oh, okay.
Let me try to airfare. Okay. Let me give only the airfare. These are the something like clerical or miscellaneous. Miscellaneous. Okay, not a problem. Let me try to give this 10950 or maintenance equipment also fine, right? I'm just giving these two expenditure types, okay? Just for our reference sake. This is one expenditure type.
But Venkat, for this C1 and C2 cost code, you have attached different expenditure types, and now here we are defining, we are attaching different.
This is your raw cost expenditure types. Okay, this is your raw cost. Like,
but you are telling central tax and something, no, that has to be applicable for the list which is mentioned in the bill, right? I mean, if you are mentioning the
let me give you this. Let me give you this. If you see the second table, the first line clerical. Okay, the clerical. This is where I'm giving it here. This is clerical here. Once I targeted, okay, once these expenditures are entered by the user from in the system, automatically my C1 and C2 should calculate. Okay, C1 and C2 will calculate. That's fine. For C1, C2 purpose, what is the associated expenditure type? Obviously, C1, C2 also, those are the expenditures, right? From the system perspective. What are the associated expenditure type for it? Against which expenditure type you should calculate? This is a raw cost. There is no change in it.
Okay.
This one. Whenever the overhead, the central tax or state tax, what is the associated expenditure type for it? This one is the fringe, which we assigned at the cost base, I mean cost code level. Why? Because without any expenditure, this amount will not store here in this. For this also expenditure type required, right?
Yeah.
That's why we associated C1 with the F&A, fringe, or fee something we included, right? Fee and F&A something. These are the overhead expenditure types which we associated with. These are your raw costs, raw expenditures. As long as system see this, automatically this will trigger. Whenever
both are not connected with each other, burden cost codes expenditure type here.
They will connect each other, but with a different expenditure types, obviously, right? Whenever I enter any clerical, I'm going to incur as a fringe. I need to give as a fringe benefits, right, for the employee. Okay, how do you segregate indirect and direct cost in your real-time outside Oracle applications?
For example, I'm just taking the example of general. You see, yesterday my bike got a bill for kind of service bill. Okay, So they put the central tax and GST tax on the equipments where they have mentioned in the list.
Correct. Okay. Whatever you are saying that central and state tax will be obviously differentiated from the bike space, right? The expenditure type is different altogether. If
Okay.
those particular amounts also will be having the same terminology called spare parts, 14% extra service, I mean, whatever the breakup you are going to get over there, it should be have a different terminology. Then only you will decide whether, okay, these are the indirect cost, this is a direct cost. If both are clerical, your extra cost as well as your raw cost, how do you differentiate those two?
Okay, got it.
Right? That's where the entire the whole burden cost will come into the picture. If you see this, the table,
Yeah.
this particular table, everything is under travel only. Even the G&A amount also, this G&A you can't see from the front end actually. I mean to say from the accounting side, only the breakup you are going to see.
Okay.
So definitely there should be some differentiation, boss. This is your the cost basis. The cost basis you can't see from the front end because it's only the user defined. I mean, you only enter this text.
Okay.
So there should be some differentiation. Okay, travel 100, G&A is 20. Okay, this G&A is nothing but your burden cost. Yeah, so that's how it works actually. You can just see that it's not a. I'm just noting down here just for our reference sake these two. Okay, we are going to incur the expenditures against these two. Then automatically C1, C2 should calculate. That's the plan here. Okay, this is okay. I'm telling the system whenever I enter these two expenditure types, automatically C1 and C2 should calculate. That's the plan. Now, what is the amount? That's the major funda. How now? I just told the system to generate the amounts. Then what is the amount? Then that I need to decide. Schedule. This is the schedule. We have to attach our structure here. Give your effective dates here. Firm and provisional is nothing but if you don't expect any changes in your amounts and all, you can go with the firm. If you see any forecasting changes, say for example, today one rate and the next year different rate and the next year is the different rate, then go with the provisional. Firm and provisional is just matter of the forecasting of changes. That's it. Just if you don't know the answer, just go with the provisional one. Hierarchy. If you recollect hierarchy, JK, very beginning, project owning hierarchy, expenditure event hierarchy, default reporting hierarchy. If you recollect that?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the place where we are going to refer the same hierarchy. Global hierarchy, the same version. Starting organization is our business group. Same, whatever the implementation options we given, the similar set we are going to give it here. This is the burden hierarchy which we refer now.
Okay.
And version 1, what is the start date? I am going to implement from January 19th onwards. Save it. Automatically, this is your starting. You can create the versions like that. If you want to end it, just end it and create a new date again. Like that, we can just keep on doing that. Now, okay, what are the rates now? Whenever I incur any vision services, okay, coming to this particular one. This is the one we are giving now. Headquarter level, these are the percentages. I mean, as and wherever you require to give it, you can just give it here. Only services east, C1, 0.5. To 0.2% only. Now, whenever I incur any vision operation side, okay, point C2, 0.3%. I don't want to calculate anything for C1 under vision operations. Just save it. See, Wherever required, you can just simply give your multipliers accordingly. Just choose compile. Job will get submitted automatically. 5876750. Just make sure this job is completed. Yeah. It's fine. Now we will create a new project type. We will see the respective setups over there, and we'll go with the further transaction entry. So project type I am creating now, capital. The today's date is 4 February. Project 4 February. Dates. Just giving some default values. Enter cost information. This is the place the entire burdening concept will come here. Okay. Try to give the rest of details, okay, to avoid your confusion. Construction resource list. There is no change. What kind of resource list you are going to? I'm implementing the burdening. Still, I want to generate my amounts based on the raw cost. That's where I have a privilege now. And if I don't know the answer, I'll just keep the none or maybe manual.
Cost type we have mentioned only raw. Why not burden?
Yeah, still you can have a privilege. You can choose the burden now because I'm yet to give this particular burdening here. Let's complete this and we'll change the value here. Okay. Now, do you want to implement burdening? Yes. What is the structure? Schedule. PA1 burden cost schedule. Do you want to schedule override at your project level? Yes. Now, if you see this in the bottom, burden cost on the same expenditure item or a different expenditure item, it will come based on this. The first line talks about the same line. The second one talks about the different line. Okay. Yes, I want to go with the same line or a different line, whatever the context is. Let me go with a different line. Now, do you want to account the burden cost components as a separate project and separate task to a separate project and task for the reporting sake mainly? Like if you want to go with the same line, always you have to do the calculation, right? Okay, this is 160, this is 140, 160 minus 140. Okay, 20 is the burdening. Instead of avoiding this confusion, if you want to go with the same line, whatever the extra 20 is coming, you can refer the system to create a dummy. You can create a burden for cost project and the task. You can just give it here. All the difference, whatever the burden amount, 20, will come and sit here. If it is a separate line, there is no issue at all because you are getting the line itself separately. The reporting is very easy for you. If it is the same line, then only you have a privilege. If you want to go with a separate accounting for, account for burden costs on the separate project and task, you can just give the target project number and task number here. I don't want to give anything. Let it be in the same line, okay? And enable accounting for your total burden cost. Do you want to enable the accounting? Do you want to do the accounting for it or not? It's up to you. Still, you have a privilege not to account. Just enter your amounts for the tracking purpose, but you don't want to account it. It's fine. Just disable this. No, boss. What at the end of the day, this is also my money. Why should I lose it? I want to account it. Just go with the accounting. Enable the accounting. Now you have a privilege here. Now, do you want to generate your asset lines for 160 rupees or only for the 100 rupees or 120 rupees? Maybe based on this example. Yeah. 140 rupees or 160 rupees. Now I want to go with only 140 rupees because most of the companies won't prefer to incur your amount, the burden amount in the asset capitalization. Okay. If yes, burden. If no, you can just choose wrong. It's up to you based on the case. Still, you have a privilege here. Just say it. See. Okay. Now, we will incur some expenditure, okay, against it. We'll create a project template and we'll create a project and we'll enter some expenditures based on our expenditure types, which we selected in the schedule. Obviously, right? Whenever, if I choose any other expenditure type apart from these two, burden won't calculate because those are not used in my schedule. Okay, let me try to create a project type quickly. Sorry, not project type, template. The template creation and all the same thing, no surprise in this.
Templates, we can use the older one also, right? Or no?
No, but this will not give the effect because we created the new project type. So whenever you give any project type here, then only it will come 4th February. Older templates will refer to the older project types. Obviously, burdening is not available for that. Just template for burdening. It's fine. Structures one-time setup. We have to enable the financial structure. The rest of stuff is okay. I'll just okay. I just created 2 tasks. Let me try to quickly create a project out of it, and we'll see how it looks like. I'm just coming out of the setup part now. Okay. Now this is the place where we can create a project type. Just select your template 04 February. Yeah. Zero 04 Feb burden test. Okay, the same name I'll give it here. Just choose OK.
What you press to copy the upper
F5.
upper
Shift F5.
Okay. I forgot this thing actually.
Shift F5. Yeah, usually this will not take this much of time. Not sure why. constructed somewhat.
It's creating a big project within the system.
Like sometimes my system is crazy. Okay, let me try to. Okay, let me try to close this. Maybe I'll just. Just 5 minutes, buddy. We are almost done. Only we have to enter the transaction and just see whether it's calculating or. Okay, let me try to check for February, right? Yeah, project is created. Let me quickly assign the key member. Okay, I just giving the start date. And if you see the burden multipliers, earlier we skipped this, right? You can see here. What is the multiplier we attached at there? PA burden cost schedule which we prepared. If you want to override this, you can go here.
Okay.
You can create a new schedule here.
Okay.
Still applicable only for this project. Okay, that makes sense, right? Let me try to incur some expenditure on it. Okay, this project. Okay, very big project given. Enter a pre-approved.
Bharatam 57. Combination.
It's fine. Miscellaneous expenditure. Vision services again is vision services only we given some rate. So if you remember, and vision operations only one. I'm just giving the project number here. What is the task number? Expenditure type, we have a challenge now. Okay, these are the two expenditures which we selected over there, right? Currency $1,000. I'm just entering 3 lines, 2 with the which are available, and 2 which are and the other one is which are not applicable for the burdening.
Okay.
Just try that difference. Okay. Within this, okay, let's make it the specialty modules. 1,000. Save it. Submit. Release. Finance. Ocean finance. The same normal routine procedure.
Distribution.
Use it miscellaneous. After this, usually interface when before the generate cost accounting events, create accounting, that is the treatment for your raw cost. Now for burdening related, once this is done, we have to run a separate program called distribute total burden cost.
Okay.
That's the respective program which we have to. Okay, this is done.
Burden.
Yeah. So this is the 3 lines. See, you can see the difference also directly here. Under currently. But unless until you run the program, then only it will calculate. I mean, you can see the difference. The middle line, the special, it doesn't belong to any burdening, right? You see 10280, very beginning. Special something, some expenditure type which we selected. The burden cost is as it is. There is no change in it. The rest of two, the first one and the last one, these are our expenditure types which we included in our schedule. That's why your raw cost is 1,000, the burden cost is 1,700. It's calculated. distribute total burden cost. Now this one will trigger the journal entries as well in the draft mode. See, the burdening also calculated. Now see the difference here in the system. Just go to your expenditure inquiry, choose all, okay, give your expenditure batch over there. Expenditure batch and see, this is your burden cost only. Directly it's giving your burden cost. Where do I see whether where is my raw and burden? This is the place you can see the raw and burden. Cost distribution lines. Go here. This is your raw 1000. Okay. This is your burden debit. This is your burden credit. Of course, credit, because of the credit, it's showing in the negate line. That's it.
Okay.
Which is in the pending status. You can see the status here pending. You have to do the generate cost accounting events again. You have to run the create accounting for this as well. The same treatment after that routine.
Okay.
So how do I know the 1700 is a correct or not? That's the question. One more time, right? There is a privilege. You have a privilege. You can just see the value over here. Go to your setup. All these three we have seen, right? Basis, cost code, structure, schedule. There is a long option. Open this. It's a kind of query window where you can give your project number, task number, what is the expenditure type you selected over there, this one, right? And the entry. Is the organization selected? Services, Vision Services. What is the date? I selected 5th Jan 2020, I believe. Okay, what is the raw cost? 1000 I given. Now just enter burden. 1700 calculated. Yes, that's true. I want to see the breakup, how it looks like. See, this is how the breakup happened based on your schedule. In this schedule, 0.2% for C2, 0.5% for C1. This is 200, this is 500, total 1700, 700 plus this 1000, total 17.
Okay.
That's how you can see. It's a kind of hypothetical. Say, for example, there is no such transaction yet. I want to see how it looks like. Just choose this. It will give you the breakup also. It's not necessarily the transaction should be in the system. You can just give your parameters. You can see what is the expected one.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it calculates the burden.